welcome in. You want to have a seat? We'll share what Spirit wants you to know today. My name's Deborah. Welcome back to the Energy Compass, where I open up and I flow through what Spirit wants us to know today. These messages always for the greater good. It's always to confirm what you already know. And if it leaves you feeling confused, if it doesn't resonate, don't try to make it fit. Okay? You're going to know if it's your message. So I'm just going to dive right in. There is a shift that wants to happen, and Spirit is calling it the sibling shift. There is a connection that you have, and this isn't actual siblings. That's not what I'm picking up on. It's being presented to me as either a friendship or a romantic connection, but the dynamic, the operating program within that connection is sibling energy. So what I mean by that is the majority of the conversation is like talking shit, like picking on each other. um, it's very, it's fun. It's a fun energy. You do a lot of joking kind of back and forth with each other, but there's also this underlying competition, that there's always this one-upmanship going on. There's always this trying to like keep the other person beneath you. And Spirit is just pointing out that although these relationships are fun, that there's a part of you that it's just, it gets kind of boring, it gets kind of old. There's an aspect of you that wants more depth within this friendship or within this romantic connection. And Spirit is pointing out that um, the change begins with you. That this connection, this person, whether this is a friend or a partner, they don't truly understand the depth of you. And it's not because they can't see, it's because you haven't allowed yourself to be fully seen. They're pointing out that this person has no idea the real hell that you have been through. And that's intentional, right? You've kept aspects of yourself shielded or guarded from this individual. And there's a time and a place to allow yourself to be seen and known. And Spirit is pointing out that you can only be loved and supported to the depth that you're willing to be known. And that if you want this friendship to evolve, if you want this connection to evolve, it will require a full knowing of yourself with this person. And the Spirit is saying you don't need to fear this. For most of the collective that's listening to me now, you've already gone through the purge. The people that aren't able, willing to meet you on a higher level have already been removed. So these connections that remain, they're here because they're for your greater good, but they're also here to elevate. The people that weren't willing or able to elevate, they've been cleared by Spirit. The people that you're wanting to elevate with, they want you to have full faith in their ability to elevate with you. So you don't have to fear that it's not going to be reciprocated. But Spirit is pointing out they can't read your mind. However, this individual most likely has the same need for more depth that you're experiencing as well. Like you mirror one another, and if you're feeling a certain way, they most likely are feeling that same way. But Spirit is pointing out that you're going to have to be the one that makes the shift. You're going to have to be the one that changes how you view this individual. So, for example, if this is a partner and you're in this kind of like tit for tat, picking on each other, sibling rivalry energy, well, like you got to be willing to stop showing up like it's a fight. You have to be willing to look at this person of like, oh, that's the person I'm on team life with, and I'm so glad that I got teamed up to do life with this individual. When you look at someone through that lens, you show up differently, and Spirit is asking you to show up differently, to show up viewing viewing the people that Spirit has put on your path as the gift that they are. And it's hard to see someone as a gift when you're looking at them through a sibling rivalry energy. And Spirit's asking you to lay that aside and to allow the sibling shift to happen. Okay. Were there any keys in that story for you? Is this resonating? Let me know down below. I'd like to know who I'm connecting with and who is on this timeline with me. Okay, let's clear that and then I'll ground back in for the next message. Thanks for watching. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being understanding as like the energy shifts and moves for the channel. Spirit is definitely kind of taking me down a different path, and I'm liking it. Okay, next story. You have someone sniffing out your money, is how they said it. You have someone that's like trying to figure out where your money comes from, trying to figure out how much you have. There's someone that um, they don't want you to be successful. That if you already are successful, they're hoping that it doesn't last. And this is a person that they put what they have above everything else. This is an individual that is always assessing someone else's worth. And they're not looking at the person based on the state of their heart. They're assessing someone's worth based on how much money they have, based on how they look, based on how their home looks, based on status. This is an individual that feels that it's somehow unfair that you are where you're at in life. And the irony is, this is an individual that may have more than you. They may have more money than you. They may have more status than you, but there's something that you have that money can't buy. And this individual thought that because they had more, that they should, how do I want to say this? This individual is not happy with all that they have. And they're witnessing you have less than them and be happier than them. You have a connection to spirit. You have an inner peace. You have the ability to show up authentically. And they're realizing they don't have those things. And they can't quite figure out how to get them. And they can't make the connection that you're not motivated by money, because that's their wheelhouse. That's all that they see is the physical plane, and they don't understand how you are happy and thriving with less. Because if they had less, they would not be happy. They would not be okay. They would be very fearful, and they're not understanding why you are not in a fear state. And they don't understand that you value something on a higher plane of existence. And because they are unaware of that plane of existence, they they think you're just kind of foolish. They think that you're just wishful thinking. They have no idea that there's an ability to alter your physical reality by coming up to a spiritual plane and changing your energetic signature. That is a concept they cannot grasp. And because they cannot grasp that concept, they view you not working in the physical plane as somehow getting lucky, cheating the system. They just can't wrap their head around it. This is a person that recognizes your ability to speak truth. And because of this, they keep you at arm's length. This individual knows that you know, but they don't know how you know, and they don't know to what depth that you know. And this freaks them out a little bit because they don't have that connection to the spiritual plane. They cannot grasp that you receive information and what you know from spirit. And so they keep you at a distance. They keep interaction with you very measured because they they don't quite know where they stand with you, and they also aren't ready to face the truth. And they realize you're a speaker of truth. They also realize that you showing up and speaking your truth, your character and your integrity, they're saying makes you known. That spirit, that they understand that when you speak, spirit is backing you. And so this person has to kind of keep you over there because they're not ready to face spirit and themselves. They're not ready to see the ways they treated you. Okay, okay, let's clear that. Let's clear that story. It's not all love and light while we're here. There's a whole lot of contrast. And as you walk into co creatorship, you'll be faced with these decision points of not recreating a story you don't want to repeat. However, you can't just be in total denial about an energy that's present. And in your acknowledgement of the energy, you clear it. And this is another aspect of the game that you have to step out of. The people that want to repeat the old storyline will call you talking about an event as you somehow perpetuating it or talking shit. Really, what you're doing is shining light on energy so it can be released and moved. They don't understand the value of bringing something forward to be seen for the purpose of clearing. And that's the difference between you and other people, is your willingness to open up the hot potatoes, bringing them out into the light to be seen for the purpose of clearing. They would prefer, in order to perpetuate the existing story where they're in control of the story, want to keep anything that's occurred hidden because they don't want how they are perceived to be altered in any way, shape, or form. And that's what makes you so powerful, is your willingness to be transformed, your willingness to be seen, your willingness just to lay it all out there and for the purpose of giving yourself a clean slate. So in order to set yourself free from an old storyline, you have to allow it to be talked about, but you allow it to be talked about with a very intentional purpose so that you can step into a new storyline. Being the co-creator, it takes tremendous strength because you have to be willing to stand up and be seen in your authenticity, using your authentic voice, and just accepting, come what may, as a result of you doing that. And most people are not willing to take that risk. And Spirit saying, that's the reward. That's why you're living the life that you're in, is your willingness to speak truth with an open heart. Your willingness to shine light, but also acknowledging fully the darkness for the purpose of setting other people free. Spirit is saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for your willingness to do the hard work to bring yourself out of the darkness and then sharing what you found. I hope you got what you needed from this visit today. I hope you come again. And if you'd like some more, make sure you subscribe. See you later.